Card.
I have been waiting for this opportunity to interview, as you see before me, Coach Pati Hoyt. You have to listen to this very impressive bio. She's a certified life coach, Revelation Breathwork Facilitator. We share the same Reiki passion, as well as the NLP practitioner and the founder. She graciously offered to interview me on her The Art of Being podcast. She helps people go inward and uncover what is holding them back from achieving even greater success and going after their dreams. I am here because I love how she focuses on the connection, right, between the emotional body, the physical body, the mindset, and their higher self, the spirit. So right before we decided to do this interview, I wanted her to share, like, she really believes and has a passion to help people like see, be, and feel the light inside of them, right? Why? So they can be, empowered to pursue, of course, their dreams. And of course, bottom line, be happier from the inside and out. Thank you so much, Patty. I would love for you to share, how do we find the light, and what causes these triggers that make us feel like failed humans? It's not even like a failed parent. We really truly believe we are failed humans. Why?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah, such a good and a big subject, but a
Yes.
subject that we all, most of us at least, share, right? And one time in our life, we came with that thought in our heads, like, oh my God, I failed, or I was not good enough, or whatever negative thought crossed our mind. And it's sometimes hard. Sometimes it sticks with us, and we carry that throughout our life, right? I used to have a lot of like, I'm not capable
Mm.
and I'm not good enough because, and I identify at some point that it's because I grew up with my oldest brother being such a genius. He's like this little genius kid that he didn't have to study at all. And he would get like A's all the time. And I had to study so hard to get a B, you know? So I always compare myself growing up to my oldest brothers, like, I'm not capable. I'm not good enough because I wasn't like him, right? It didn't come easy for me to go and study different subjects in school. And for him, I never saw him with open book. Hey, I was like, what the hell is wrong with me, right?
Well, we compare, that's why, right?
Yeah, and something was wrong with me. That was my thoughts. Like, and I carried that. I'm not capable. I'm not good enough because I wasn't achieving what he was achieving so easy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I carried that as an adult, even going to work and going through different jobs, and people could see from outside that I was good, that I was good what I was doing at work, that I was good off on this subject, on this thing, like, oh my God. But I couldn't see. And that's when I see, like, I didn't see my light. My light, I deemed the light so like this that I could not see it. It was dark inside. I couldn't see the light. But once I started seeing it, other people saw, but I didn't see it. Right? The power was when we start seeing inside and seeing that light. When I started seeing the light, and like, oh, my being start like feeling up from inside out. Because it didn't matter if somebody came to me and said like, oh, you're so good in this or that. That didn't matter. If I didn't really believe and see the light and feel the light is what it fuels us, is what it fueled me. Then I start seeing it and I start being it. I stepped into the light. And that's when life started changing. I started feeling empowered. I started feeling that I could do. Oh, I could now dream because before I couldn't even dream.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Why bother dream? Because I knew I wasn't going to get there because I wasn't capable of getting there, right? So I didn't even allow myself to dream. Or if I dream like very small.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew like, okay, if I dream small, I could get there. I can make it my goals. I can reach my goals. I can achieve it, right? But once I found that light inside of me, then I could dream bigger because I started feeling more empowered and things really started to happen. Oh my God, life changed.
What's the secret? What do you think the secret is for people who, like you said, we are in this dark? Because you just described every feeling that I've been going through. Something happens to us where we are not, we just feel we're not good enough. And you're right, no matter what you say or what others say, no matter what you see, why, how do we grasp that light or find it?
It's to go inward. It's really to go inward because there is no answer outside of us. None. Zero. Zipper. Nothing outside of us. We have to go inward. We
How do we
have to
do
go
that?
inside.
What does that
The
mean?
first thing, the first thing that I did, and it was very hard for me because I lived over 20 years, almost 25 years with chronic pain. So for me, it was hard to even sit still. Sit still for me was not a thing because I couldn't sit still. I was in excruciating pain every second of my day, 24/7. But I remember once attending a live virtual book club with Oprah and Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to us during that time, sit still and meditate. And I remember one day attendees saying, Eckhart Tolle, I have this issue with my body. She had pain. I cannot sit still. Are you telling me that I need to sit still? I'm in pain. And he said, yes, the answer is when you sit still, even with your pain. And then he said something that really changed the trajectory of my life. He said, be with your pain, with your pain. And I'm like, heck no.
Exactly.
Be with my pain. I spend my hours trying to be busy and distract myself from thinking about my pain because I'm in excruciating pain. And you're telling me to sit still and be with my pain? Are you crazy? So for me at that time, I thought he wants me to inflict, like, bring more suffering to me, right? Because sitting and be with my pain, and the pain in this contest for me was literally physical pain, but for other people can be with their emotional pain, right?
Yes.
We don't want to sit and be with our emotional pain, with our physical pain, right? So for me, it was physical, literally physical pain. But that's the solution because once we sit with our pain, it doesn't mean we are inflicting more suffering or torturing us to be with our pain. It's actually connecting. Once we do that, we connect with our body. We connect and we start listening to our body because our body is telling us, it's sending us messages
Mm-hmm.
every second of the day. If we want it or not, our body is speaking to us. But the problem is we make ourselves so busy so we don't connect with our body. We don't listen to what our body is saying. That's when I started saying, like, oh, that's what he means. So for people who have physical pain like me, he said, focus on one part of your body that you don't have pain. Yes, like, do you have pain in your fingernail? And we are like, I don't have pain in my fingernail. It's like, to sit still and focus on that fingernail. And once I started doing that, like, whoa. And I started listening to my body. My body was telling me different messages, but I could only hear if I sit still, if I start to meditate. And some people hear the words meditate and think like, I don't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Erase that meditate out of the equation. Just sit. Sit with yourself. That's it. Because minute you start doing that, your mind is going to go everywhere, right? And what people think about meditate, I have to quiet my thoughts. My thoughts is running all the time. I need to quiet, so I don't know how to meditate. And then they leave, right? They don't do it. But no, let the thoughts. Oh, one more thought. Good. I just hear you. I see you. You know, let it pass. You know, focus on your breathing. Focus on one part of your body. Once you start focusing on that, even like I did with you once, the breath work that I do is like inhale through the belly, right? So we inhale through the belly. Yeah. And just go back to that, right? Inhale, just watch your belly going up and down as you inhale and exhale. That is already sitting with your body, sitting with your pain, emotional and physical. It's so powerful. And once you connect with that, we start hearing what is truly important that is telling you. And that voice comes from inside. That voice doesn't come from your mind, which usually is a critical mind, right? When the message comes from your heart, that's the truth. That's your essence. It's when we can get connected with our heart. That's our true essence. We can only hear that if we get quiet. And quiet means just sit still. Then once you sit still, you connect with your body. Once you connect with your body, you listen to your body. You know, a lot of people, you have neck pain or your shoulder pain, or, you know, because if you don't hear to the message that the body is sending, guess what? It starts increasing the volume. And then you start getting neck pain and headaches and migraines and stomach and digestive system, and it starts taking over. Because the body is trying to talk to you and we do not hear. And it start giving louder mess and we start getting sick and sick and sicker and sicker. So it starts to go inside, sit still. Even if you have emotional pain, the cry comes, let it come. Pay attention to the tears coming down your face instead of wiping the tear right away. No, watch your tears come down. It's like so magical to allow ourselves to let, for me, I couldn't do this for many, many years. I could not allow my tears to come even to my eyes. Forget about coming down my face. That I did not allow. The moment that you allow your tears to come down your face and you just focus on the tears coming down without having the need to wipe it. Because when you wipe it, you're denying that. You're denying that something wants to release from you. So let the tears come down. Focus on like, oh, I feel it. I'm releasing it. You know, my mom, for the longest time, she told me once that she grew up in a military home. Her father, my grandpa, was military, and crying was a sign of weakness. So no kid could cry in her home. So she learned to hide the cry and to learn not to cry. As an adult, she had very difficult time to cry. She had to learn how to cry as like old, after having a bunch of kids. She learned how to cry. So when she saw me at early 20s, holding my crying, and she said, please do not do that. Because I learned not to cry, and as an adult, I'm learning how to cry. I was like, whoa, is that a thing?
When you just mentioned that, we don't, it's an automatic thing. You just wipe it away. But now that you explain it, it is avoiding because you're like, oh no, I have to wipe it away. And you're not embracing the emotions, right?
Yes, embrace emotion. Let it feel in body or mental emotion. Let yourself feel that. Feel the feelings. And sit still and breathe. A lot of people don't breathe. We hold because we're stressed, we're tense, and we hold our breath. So I have some of my clients, I tell them to put an alarm every hour to just remind them to breathe. And for 1 minute, that's all they do. They stop anything that they're doing and breathe. It's magical.
It is. And it's such,
That's cool.
doesn't it seem like forever, that 1 minute when you first try it, you
Yes.
think, wow, was that a minute? Oh, it's 10 seconds. You don't realize
But then people say, I don't have time. You do have time for 1 minute.
you do.
You do have time for 1 minute. But it's not a habit. So put an alarm. And you're, okay, 1 hour, breathe. Because then you realize that you're tensing up. Because when you breathe, you relax. You tell your body, your nervous system, like, I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm safe. Create a little mantra that you can do during that 1 minute. I'm safe. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Something, a mantra, a very mantra. It's not an affirmation, it's a mantra.
Can you explain what a mantra is and what it can
It's
do?
it's just a phrase, a little phrase. It's not affirmation. Is like I am this and that.
Mm-hmm.
This is affirmation, right? A mantra is I'm safe. Everything's gonna be okay.
That's so calming just hearing you say that. Everything's going to be okay. And when you say it, don't you think listening but
Yes.
saying it
Mhm.
in your voice?
Yes. Yes. It's huge. It's huge, and it's such a small practice that we can do on a daily basis, right? But the ripple effect is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So whatever you are in need at this moment, right there, you create a little mantra. I'm just having a human experience.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm just having a human experience, and it's okay. And when you go through ups and downs, right? It's like my life goes through ups and downs, and I'm grateful for my ups and my downs. No, when I go in the deep valley, I know I'm going to come up to the mountain.
So beautiful.
So just simple mantras. Those are mantras that you can say just as you're breathing that 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 minute. So find a mantra that resonates with you and just say that. Simple, just simple. Don't complicate. Humans, we try to complicate everything.
We do, we overthink, right?
Yeah,
So,
we
speaking
overthink.
of overthinking, can you share a little bit about what triggers are and how they can, you were mentioning the bus analogy. Share the bus
Oh,
analogy with
yes.
triggers. What is a
Yes.
trigger and why does it affect us so?
So I getting certification on a modality that is called inner mosaic. That when you first start talking about and explaining, one may think it's all this is inner child work. I don't want to do that, but it's not. It's different. See, when we go through lives, we get imprinted with different things in our life as we grow up. We get imprinted, and then we carry that imprint with us. So, like, let's say at 5 years old, you got bullied in school, or a friend told you that, oh, you are ugly, or you're fat, or you are dumb. Oh, in school, you're so stupid, right? In school. If that relates to you in that moment, they got imprinted on you as a 5 years old. And then you grow up. And then now, every time that a situation happens, it reminds you of that imprint, 5 years old, that imprinted that they are stupid. Now it gets triggered as a 15.
Hmm.
Something like you're in the high school and a kid come and say like, oh, you don't know anything. Psh, what are you talking about? It can trigger right then. And what a trigger is like, oh, it's that 5 years old. So as a 15, you got triggered by that 5 years old. What happens during that time that somebody just said like, you don't know what you're talking about? Even as a joke, it got triggered like, you were stupid. You don't know anything. And then now, as 15 years old, that 5 years old is taking control of the bus. And now all the reactions that 15 years old is having is it's the 5 years old that is in control of the bus and is having that major reaction emotionally. So it's not the 15 years old, it's actually now the 5 years old that is in control of the bus. And that's why sometimes it can seem like, oh, this is, you're taking way, it's too dramatic. You're taking this thing that was so small, making a big deal. It was just a friend saying like, you don't know what you're talking about. And you're taking like very serious. It's because it wasn't that 15 years old, but it got triggered that 5 years old that now is in control. And imagine the 5 years old driving a bus.
Exactly.
Not good, right? And so that happens over and over and over. Even as an adult at 30 years old, one of your boss says something that can trigger that 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And you have a huge reaction to something, a little comment, a minor comment that somebody, a coworker or a boss say, and you got triggered and your reaction is so overboard. Because now as a 30 years old, that 5 years old is in control of the bus.
Yeah.
And is reacting with the mindset as a 5 years old. So the work that we do in Inner Mosaic is go back and identify all those times that we got imprinted and personal, like give a persona, give a name to that 5 years old, give a name to that 17 years old that got imprinted. They can give you a name at a 22 years old, whatever imprints you have, right? Because then we can recognize, oh, it's just a part of me, because all of those are a part of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
We became who we are because of all those parts. That's why it's inner mosaic, because we all carry all of those parts are inside of us. We just need to recognize who is coming in control and taking control of the bus right then. Because if we can identify, then we can have a conversation with that 5 years old, with that 14 years old, 17, 22, whoever is getting triggered at that moment, and recognizing, having the conversation with that person. Then you get in alignment.
This can be life-changing though, with
Yeah.
why crimes happen, domestic violence, when people at the heat of the moment react so, like you said, overboard, great adjective, and committing a crime that they would never have if they only understood that it was their 5-year-old self, right? But now they're in their 60s and they allow the horrific
Things to
experience.
happen. Yeah. So it's a very beautiful work, because we recognize, we honor that part, we see, and then we get in alignment. Then, like, okay, we realize what is that 5 years old or whatever that part of you is coming. What is maybe sometimes it's preventing us from suffering again. Oh, I recognize this road. We've been there and we suffered in the past. We don't want to go there. No, don't go there, right? So a lot of people prevent them from going after their dreams because some part of them is getting triggered and is pulling them back. No, don't go there. It's dangerous. We've been there. We suffered in the past. We don't want to suffer again, right? Now realizing that today, as an adult, we have different tools. We can go in this path now because now we know how to deal with this situation, right? So it's assuring that whatever part of us is getting triggered, that now we are an adult. Now I have tools. Now I know what I can do. And we can go over here where I wanted to go right now. So we get in alignment. That's when it stops. It stopped, like I calm down. That 5 years old that is getting triggered. It's like, oh, I'm safe. Okay, I get it. I get it right now. Okay. And then integrate that part back to you, because those parts made who you are right now. So it's not denying. A lot of people do inner work, inner child work, that they shush the kid, right? Like, oh, it's just my, 2 years old coming up, and it's like, then they go and leave them in the past. They wanted to leave that part, the 2 years old, in the past. give love and live in the past, but it's not. That 2 years old, it's part of you.
Mm-hmm.
It created who you are, who we are today. So it's honoring that part and identify and then say we are safe, because now as an adult, I can take control of the past because I have tools that it can help us,
Mm-hmm.
all of us, all the parts inside of us, to go in this path, to deal with the situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very, very heavy, but very enlightening because, like you said, you don't want to avoid, you don't want to banish the child that is part of you, because that's what happens in the parent-child relationship, right? Like if you were told, shh, then you grew up feeling that your voice is not valued, right?
Yes. Yes.
But when
We
you
had
honor,
so There's so many opportunities in our lives growing up that we can get imprints, right?
mm-hmm,
And sometimes this tiny little thing that got imprinted on us. And a lot of times it's from situations that we are in or by people around us, parents or authority figure like a teacher or aunt or uncle, right? Uh, it can be people that got imprinted us on something that they said to us or a situation that we are in. So there's so many opportunities that we get imprint throughout our entire lives. So, and it's not anybody's fault, right? It's not the parents' fault. It's not the teacher's fault. It's not the uncle or the auntie's fault. They were doing their best. They had no idea that saying shush to a kid can imprint them like your voice is not worthy.
mm-hmm.
You are not worthy of expressing yourself, right? And one kid can take it like that. I'm not worthy to expressing
Oh, a
myself.
lot. And if they have a teacher who says something like, "I'm not going to answer that because you should have known
To
that.
know,
You
yeah,
didn't listen. I'm not repeating it." And then you never want to ask ever again,
ever again.
even as an
Yes.
adult, right? Because you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be shamed or called out.
Yes. Yes. I remember one. I learned that you reminded me like a situation. I learned by asking questions. That's my nature, right? I asked
Mm-hmm.
a lot of questions, and I remember being younger. I had a boss that I got into this work, and I wanted to learn my job, and I wanted to learn well because I want to do well. And I remember this boss telling me like, "You ask too many questions." I carry that with me to the next job, to the next job, to the next job. I was like, wow, I shouldn't ask. I annoy somebody with my questions. I shouldn't ask questions. But I went down, I dimmed my light right then.
Yes.
I dimmed my light right then. And then later I realized like, no, questions is beautiful things. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I grow. That's how I acquire knowledge. But it took me a long time to be courageous enough again, allow myself to ask questions again. And this was as an adult that he imprinted that on me, you know? And yeah, so imprints can be done throughout the entire life. It's amazing. And
And
it's,
maybe this is why teenagers act out. Can you imagine how many imprints they've had from birth till 13, and then they're not emotionally mature enough to even understand what's going on? So then
yes.
they act disrespectful or they might misbehave, and it's all because of the imprints, right? They don't know how. It's almost like their image was tarnished because they believed every little negative
Yeah.
comment, right?
Yeah. So I think it's great because you deal with a lot of parents and kids. It's great for parents to identify that sometimes your teenager or early, young adults are having this crazy overboard reaction, and they may be reacting to somebody that happens in the past and they have no idea. That's
And
why it
you know what
feels
they're
like out of
told? Yeah, you
context.
know what they're told? Stop acting like a child. Stop acting like a 3-year-old. And that's actually a huge sign that it is their 3-year-old self speaking in their 14-year-old body.
Yeah.
You know,
And then you just shush it. You just shush that three
well, because
years
you
old.
feel disrespected, but
Yeah.
now we're learning so much, that whenever your child says something that you find disrespectful, it's an opportunity to learn what they are going through instead of,
Yeah.
how dare you do this to your
Yes.
parent.
So I'll
That's
give you a little tool that people can take home with
yes.
them. It's like one, as an, even as an adult us, right? When we feel trigger, stop, be with the trigger, and think, when was the earliest memory that I had by feeling this feeling that I'm feeling right now? And go back and identify when it was that you felt that same way. You will see that that feeling is the same way at some point in your life you felt that similar feeling. And then you just identified who is right now getting triggered. So just to
Wow.
start with the little, it has other steps that you go through afterwards, but this is like the first step is being aware, right? Aware who is now in control of the bus. Just by doing that, you will see that your trigger reaction just goes like, whew.
Yes, because once you're aware and you understand, then you don't associate with it. It's like you are not the incompetence, or I am not the anxiety. It's just like a little part of you. I love how you put that. So, what a great name for that, the mosaic, because then you see that. Because I used to think, oh, once I have this, I won't experience anxiety or fear. Then
Yeah.
you realize, no, it's going to reside in you, right?
Yeah, and I wanted to tell everybody that give credit to this modality. It was created by Samantha Kao. She's the one who created this inner mosaic modality. She has been a therapist for a long time, and then she changed career to be a life coach, and she created this inner mosaic modality. So I want to give credit to where the credit is due.
Wow, just an amazing enlightenment though, because a lot of us wouldn't even think that it came from, I'm sure a lot of us early teenage years, or maybe when you were two and you have no memory, but like you said, something magical happens, right? When you just sit and be
Just sit
still.
still. Yeah, sit and be still. For me, it's like three things that I help me sit still, connect with your body, and then listen to your body. Like even
Thank you.
my pain comes,
I
like
was
my
gonna
shoulder comes,
say, yeah.
and then now I connect immediately. I know how to connect. I'm like, sit, connect with my pain, listen. What is it saying? And immediately the answer comes, and guess what? The pain goes away. It's weird, but it's not weird. It feels like magic, but it's not. It's just this such an intelligent wise system that we have, which is our body. So just
When
connect
being
with
in
that.
tuned, right? I guess that's the secret to
Yes.
being in tune, because I know people
Connect.
who are in such excruciating pain, but then they define it, like you said, year after year, that you feel hopeless, that there is no cure. But how
Yes.
do we find you? How do people find you? I see here Instagram coach.patty.hoyt, and then you have a right?
Website. They can go to my website, Patti Pati Hoyt HOYT.com, and they will find all my social medias there.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I felt like I had a little session right now.
Well, so I hope your audience really try to be the light, feel the light, and feel empowered from the inside out.
And it's much simpler than they imagine, right? So please contact Patty. She will guide you and really help you feel empowered, especially when we feel hopeless and there is absolutely like no chance. You can't even feel the tiniest bit of light because you're immersed in darkness, how we were saying. But all it takes is a few tools and you'll be enlightened and feel the light at the same time.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Patty. And we will
Thank you.
definitely keep in touch.
Aloha.
Okay. Aloha. Take care. Bye.
Bye.